Just $10 a month helps the RightWay Foundation continue to transform foster youth futures through housing, mental health, employment, and community.
Welcome back, folks. I'm Franco Vega, the host of RightWay Podcast, where you know our theme is 10 minutes of healing the right way. We have an awesome guest in the building. She goes by the name of Johna. Welcome, Johna.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It's long overdue.
It is.
And just joking with the audience. Johna is one of our star students who's been with the Right Way for such a long time and doing amazing things, but I want her to share her flowers. We want to hear about her. So talk to the audience. Who is Johna?
Johna. Whew. It's so funny. Every time I get asked that question, sometimes I always got to take a pause to really think about that before I speak.
It'd be a great pause.
And I think I just turned 32 this year, so I'm still low-key rediscovering this new version of myself. But who I am as an artist.
You said 32?
Yeah, 32.
Can I Kevin Hart you? Damn. Well, go ahead. 32. But not then, how long have you known us then? Holy crap.
Damn. At least 11 years, 12 years.
Were you able to buy liquor, or were you a minor?
No, I was 20 when I met y'all.
Whoa, 12 years. Awesome.
Yeah.
So we got to see you from a baby. But you're always mature. I'm not going to sit here and lie. So I'm not going to lie and say, we've seen you grown.
Yeah.
You were always grown. But go ahead, girl.
Because I was raised by OGs, and they instilled a lot of wisdom in me. People always say I had an old spirit, but grew up listening to Marvin Gaye, oldies, and, Tupac, and music that had a message. So and I really listened, so it made me a different person. And I think that's another thing that inspired me as an artist, like hearing Tupac, J. Cole, people like that had a message in their music, and me being like, oh my God, I want to make music like this. That's going to uplift my people, and how can I do that in a creative way? And to this day, none of my spoken word, none of my music have curse words in it. And so I am a performing artist, and I really recently feel confident to say that, because I realized that times in my life where I was the happiest was when I was performing.
You wrote a couple of pieces for us specifically.
I did.
And then you got to show it off. I had to think back, what events did you perform with us? But it was moving. Everyone always said, can we get that girl back? Can we get that girl back? I was like, no, she comes with a high price. She's not for free.
I particularly did one about homelessness.
Yes.
And I had wrote one about that specifically. And I was just like, oh, yeah, this is a topic I can talk about,
Correct,
and so,
correct.
Yeah, that's my passion.
I think, and you did one about incarceration for us.
I did.
So,
I did.
Awesome. So tell us your story growing up. How did Johna become Johna?
I became who I am. Growing up, I was placed in the system when I was 9 years old. But I always tell people that I definitely had a fortunate journey, even with the trauma, the abuse and things that I experienced. I was so fortunate because when I was placed in the system at 9 years old, it was because my mom was smoking marijuana. She was pregnant with my sister, but the baby was in her rib cage. Mm-hmm. So her stomach never really got big. Mm-hmm. I remember that vividly because I didn't even know she was pregnant. She went to the hospital for back pains. They told her she was in labor. She turned 30, May 1st, 2003. Mm-hmm. And then May 9th, 2003, my little sister was born. Mm-hmm. And on her 30th birthday, because she didn't know she was pregnant, she was drinking and smoking weed. Mm-hmm. And so when she had my sister 8 days later, and she went to the hospital in South Central, mm-hmm. they drug tested her mm-hmm. and found marijuana in her system and in my sister's system, and decided to remove the kids from the home and open up a case. And then made her jump through so many hoops to try to get us back. Mm-hmm. She, at some point, I felt was like, look, my kids are safe now, because when I was with the first home I was in, which was my brother's father, paternal side of the family.
Okay. But not your father.
Not my
father. Your brother's father. Mm-hmm. Okay, got you.
When he went to, he wanted to go live with them, so I went to live with them, and I experienced abuse there. I was molested. I was abused with dogs, which I recently got over the trauma of being afraid of dogs, but I went there.
Abused with dogs, you mean they used to attack you?
Yeah, and I think so. As an adult and going through therapy, shout out to RightWay for my therapy. I realized that for them, they probably thought it was a prank. Oh, let's prank her. Let's hold her down and let the dog bite her. But for me, it was a traumatic experience. It traumatized me because I got bit by that dog one time, And so it really traumatized me and shaped my future because I was scared of dogs from that day forward, you know. Not as of now. I recently overcame that, but I went to go live there, and my mom was unfortunate, right? Because she got drug tests. She wasn't a bad mom. I remember having a birthday every year, never went hungry, had hot food. She's an amazing cook, and the only thing she did wrong was smoke weed while she was pregnant.
Is your mom still with us to this day?
Yeah, my mom's still here with us today. My big mama isn't. Who I went to go live with after I left the home with my brother auntie. I was there for like 9 months, went to court, and a judge, shout out to that judge for being aware, because she saw something wasn't right with me when I was getting ready to leave court with my brother auntie and asked, like, you know, me to talk to my attorney. And that gave me the space to be honest, because nobody else was around but me and my attorney. And I let my attorney know, like, hey, look, I was being bit by dogs. I showed them the scar. I let them know, like, you know, sometimes when the mom is at work working graveyard and they make malto meal in the morning, they got lumps. And I'm like, I don't want that. I'm going to eat cereal. Oh, if you don't eat this, you're not eating nothing. So now I can't eat until I go to school. And then people at school like, why you eating so much? But they don't know that her kids just told me I can't eat because I'm not eating what they cooking. And it's like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, okay, cool.
Hey, wait, malto meal. Let's make it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Malto meal.
Malto meal.
Yeah.
Hey, was that the guy with the hat on the box? I don't remember. You remember the boxer?
Yeah.
You know, and they didn't know how to cook malto meal. Gotta get those lumps out of here. Come on now.
It's so easy,
wow.
you know? And so when I left there, I went to live with my big mama. And people always be like, who is your big mama? That's your granny? No. I was born, her baby father is my biological cousin. So her kids are my biological cousins, but those are my brothers and sisters through love, right?
Oh, so Big Mama is not really your grandma?
She's not related to me by no blood at all, but she was always in my mom's
not
life.
Blood anyway.
And I was born on her couch in her apartment, and her sister delivered me. So, like, my mom was really close with them, and she had kids by a family member of ours, and so we was all close. And so she was always in my life. She was my godmother.
Got you.
My mom made her my godmother.
Got you.
And so always was in my life. So when the judge asked me who I want to live with, I was like, I'm gonna go live with my big mama. You know, I know her. I didn't when I got mad at my mama before I was in the system, I was like, I'm going to my big mama house. And it was a point where my big mama was like, you're not finna keep using us. You staying here until I say you can go back home. And then that's when I never used that as an excuse again. But I went to go live there. And I was there until I aged out the system. And
so when did you age out?
I aged out at 21.
Whoa.
I aged out at 21.
Okay, but you got to stay with Big Mama.
I stayed with my big mama.
Were you ever in stranger care, or it was always family?
It was always family, you know. But I would say when I looked back at living with my brother and them auntie, I didn't know, when I went there, they wasn't strangers, right? I was like, oh, I know these people. My mama used to go hang out with them on Friday nights while they go out. You know, I know the kids. But when I lived there, they became strangers because I was like, who are these people and why are they treating me like this? You know what I mean? I remember it was a time when we went back to school and my brother, auntie kids' dad sent them money for clothes. Is what she said. And so she bought everybody new school clothes but me. And I was like, how come I don't got no new school clothes? Oh, well, I ain't got no money for you to get no clothes. So I end up wearing the same clothes from the year prior to go to school for that year, you know? And so it was just like little things like that it was like, oh, I don't really know these people. I thought I did. I thought I was safe here. I was safe when I spent the night on the weekends, but it was a completely different thing. And I didn't feel safe until I got into the home with my big mama.
So you was in a family, but really not feeling like you was part of the family.
Yeah.
That's the story of our life. Wow. Okay, good to go. So, you know, how did you get over all this, or how did you process to deal with this and not let it affect or even tell your story?
You know what? When I was, like, if you would have asked me this years ago, I probably wouldn't know how to answer it. But because of therapy, and I do a lot of retrospection and introspection, looking back and looking within, and I realized that the thing that carried me through was knowing that I had love outside of what I was going through, because my mother loved me from the day I was born. And having a mother's love can carry you in ways that I didn't even realize that was what was carrying me. But knowing that I had family on the other end, like that I can go, even though at the time I was spending weekends, I'm like, I know that it's love out there in the world for me, and that this is not like a reflection of necessarily what my life is going to be, right? Now I knew that. At 13, I didn't know that, right? At 13, I was rebelling. At 13, I was ditching school. At 13, I was fighting. At 13, I was acting out. You know what I mean? But at 32 and being in therapy and like having so many amazing mentors come in my life and pour into me. I had Sid Stewart, who I met when I was 14, who opened doors for me. And just that instilled hope in me that I can be something better than my environment, than what I seen in my life. And I think that's what it was for me, like, you know.
Well, we got to share with the guests another awesome story. We're hitting that 10-minute mark, and we're going to bring Johna back because, you know, all these great stories always have to have a part 2 or part 3 sometimes. So on behalf of all the youth we serve in LA County, we want you to guys please tune in next week where we'll share Johna's part 2 story. You got to hear it because she goes into Hollywood. Peace. God bless.